Hey everyone, I've got a PS5 DualSense controller here, and we're going to put a new shell on it. This is the same controller where I fixed the joystick drift in an earlier video, and I'll put a link to that one on the screen if you haven't seen it. With that shameless plug out of the way, I'm quickly showing the unboxing of the various new pieces, all of which were provided by Extreme Rate. I've done one other reshell using their product on a Game Boy Advance SP, and the result was very nice. So they've set a high bar for themselves, and I'm on a journey to find out if they've done it again. One important note I mentioned last time is that these products come with all the tools and hardware you need for the job, with spares included. I selected different pieces for this shell swap individually, meaning they didn't come as a kit, but I'll link each one in the video description if you like them and want to try it out for yourself. I've even got some custom joystick rings and metal buttons here. How fun! Now, it's time to get started. First up, using a plastic spudger, we'll pry out the lower faceplate. And also remove the L1 and R1 buttons. This reveals 4 screws which are unfastened with a 2.5mm Phillips drive. Then we can pry the shell halves apart. Next up, we'll pull out the battery and the flex cable for the microphone before removing the battery plate. There are 4 other flex cables to remove on the motherboard. Rotate it out, being mindful of the wires on either side. The speaker fell out, but this is where it's normally located, so we'll move it to the side. Now we remove 2 screws near the middle of each grip, and 2 more for the touchpad light polarizer, which can then gently lift out. Or explode everywhere. No worries if that happens though, as they fit up fine like this for later. Now we can separate everything from the top shell, and then start pulling out the rubbers. And the buttons. Then we can fish out the microphone before removing the mute button, which is released with these 2 tabs. Next, we'll pry out this face button liner and get on to removing the touchpad, which is just held in by these 2 screws. We can fish this flex cable through the slot and then remove the plastic backing. The touchpad frame takes a bit of coercion to remove, but it's pretty resilient to bending, so no worries. We don't need to remove these joystick rings since we have new ones. We do need to remove this flex board from the touchpad though, and I use a heat gun to soften the adhesive and make the process easier. I've got the old glue all messed up here, so I clean it up off camera and apply some new adhesive. Though I'd recommend just reusing the old glue if you can salvage it better than I did. That completes the teardown, and we can start working with the new shell pieces. I'm getting excited about these fancy metal buttons. First up, we'll remove the liner on the new adhesive and get the touchpad board glued down to the new piece. Next, we'll peel off this foam pad from the old back shell and stick it to the new one. On the front shell now, we can snap in these joystick rings by aligning the teeth and pressing until they click into place. Now we'll snap in the touchpad frame, then the button liner, and install the touchpad the opposite way it came out, fishing the flex tail through this slot and then fastening the 2 screws. Next, the mute button can click into place, then feed in the microphone, making sure the thicker tab to the right engages with the slit in the shell. Now we'll get the buttons into place, starting with the PlayStation button and its corresponding rubber pad. Then the start and select buttons on either side of the touchpad. I think they're actually called like menu and options or something, whatever. Start and select. Our new main buttons are all made of metal, which is pretty cool. We'll put in the D-pad first, followed by the X, circle, square, and triangle buttons. These new ones don't have those graphics on them, but each one is keyed so they can only fit in one way, just like the originals. Bringing back the guts of the controller, we'll remove the old joystick caps and add in these new handy-dandy metal ones. Then lift the old assembly back into the lower shell, making sure we feed that touchpad cable through this slot on the way. Next, we'll put the polarizer pieces back into place and fasten them down. Then put the speaker back in here before rotating the board up and putting it in place. There are 4 flex cables to maneuver out of the way as we do this, and lifting the controller up helps for the final seating, as the joystick caps would otherwise push against your work surface. Now we'll plug in the flex cables for the rumble motors on each side, the microphone, and the touchpad. Then place and fasten the battery holder back down before plugging in the final microphone flex cable. We'll get those 2 side screws back on and connect the battery. Position the new back shell and snap it into place, then those 4 exterior screws can be fastened down. We're so close to the end, we can taste it. I found the lower faceplate is easier to position if you tilt the joysticks downward first. Eventually, you'll feel that sweet spot and it will click into place. After that, the shoulder buttons should shoot in without too much trouble. And it's done. I mean, I don't know what to say. And then I know exactly what I'm gonna say. This thing is ballin'. I was honestly not expecting to like how it looks this much. The Great Wave graphic is pretty classy and it goes well with the silver secondary color, not to mention the gentle, minty green accents of these joystick rings. The metal buttons and joysticks are very nice. The X, circle, square, and triangle buttons are designed to look like 9mm bullet casings, which is a little cheesy, but they feel awesome, so I can get over that pretty quickly. The back shell half has more of a matte texture than the original, and it feels nice in your hands. Overall, I love the contrast and feel like everything goes together very well here. But I'm more curious to hear what y'all think. In many ways, I believe the outcome here is superior to the OEM controller. Do you agree? Think I'm crazy? Love it? Hate it? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one and unlike this one in the future. Anywho, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.